Hey guys, today I'll be showing you some updates here on the Dr. Dave Luce Polymoog. This is the second Polymoog I've restored from Dr. Dave Luce's collection for the Luce family, and this is the same unit that I have a video on of the full teardown. And I apologize guys, I was wanting to make a reassembly video and time has not been on my side. I've had a lot of stuff come in. I had some demanding work come in from some touring musicians, so I had to take care of that. And then by the time I got started back on this Polymoog, I completely forgot to record what I was doing. So I put it all back together and then I was like, oh man, completely forgot to record it. But anyways, in the future I will try to have a Polymoog reassembly video. Just to kind of show you what goes on in these restorations. Because it's definitely not just put the boards back in it and it powers on. That's not how it works. There's a lot of work that goes into these things. And like any restoration, I mean, I'm sure some of you car guys out there know exactly how it is. You pull the engine out of a car, you rebuild it, put it back in. You got to do all that timing work, and you know, you got those little bugs that you have to work out. Same thing with electronics and anything you do with restorations that's a large scale. But anyways, guys, let me go over this for you, and also for Ben Luce here. Ben, thanks again. Real pleasure getting to know you over this past year. I got to meet him last year. That's the whole story. I've got a video talking about that event from the first Polymoog, which I'll link in this video, so you can go back and hear kind of what the backstory is on Dr. Dave Luce and how this all kind of happened. But anyways, what I did is first things first is I stripped it down just like in that last video because I knew it had problems. This one was dead on arrival. It didn't have a power supply, it didn't have a transformer. So first thing I did is I had a spare transformer, put a transformer in it. I rebuilt a memory Moog supply for this one. I had to cut the heatsink down to make it fit and all that good stuff. But it's actually running off a memory Moog supply. Which a memory Moog supply and a Polymoog supply are very, very similar. They're almost exactly the same thing. Just the memory Moog supply is more beefed up. It has a larger rectifier diodes for more current draw, for more wattage, and that's really about it. And it's got two raw voltage lines going off two pins that weren't used on the Polymoog to do sub regulations on the demux board of a memory Moog. So that's really it. So did that, went through all the boards, restored all the boards, replaced all common failure components. I'll get it right in a minute. Full calibration, pulled the interface apart, cleaned all the sliders, cleaned the nasty foam that turns to grease between the slider panel and the interface. So all those are clean now. Replaced all the LEDs with low profile, low wattage diodes. Low profile is nice because the original diodes could actually puncture the overlay. You can kind of see it's got a clear overlay, and it could actually puncture that. And I've seen that many a time where the LED comes through and cracks this overlay. So those are low profile. Replaced all the CMOS switching chips on the interface boards. Did not do the Voxhumana mods to any of these Polymoogs. I wanted to keep them original since they were Dave's. They got the factory presets in them. Went through, this thing had a lot of dead dividers. It had 12 dead dividers in total, and so I think it took a surge at some point because it had some dead dividers. It had a dead noise source chip, so the sample and hold wouldn't work. Some other things wouldn't work associated with the noise. Well, actually, I think it's just sample and hold on this. Yeah, it's just the sample and hold that uses the noise source. But it wouldn't work. Some notes for you guys, though, is that this is actually a very late Polymoog, built in 1979. And something to note here is this one actually says Polymoog synthesizer. The reason some of these say keyboard and some of these say synthesizer is because before they made the keyboard model, which is over here, you can see it right there, it says keyboard, Polymoog keyboard on the side where all these controls are, making that a standalone keyboard model. It's not really the synthesizer model. They rebadged the synthesizer so you wouldn't get confused between the keyboard and the keyboard. So they rebadged this after they released the keyboard model, which is the 280A. the synthesizer being 203A. So just a little side note for you there. Anyways, I'll walk you around here. Just give you a good overview of how this thing looks. The top cover is just a little warped. That happens. But I'll walk you around the back here. Cleaned it real good. But you can see how clean the back is now. Clean all that. This is actually serial number 3990. So it's a very late unit. And just really got a good cleaning. But let me put the camera on the tripod and I'll just kind of show you how this thing sounds. It sounds really good. It's a really good Polymoog. We're going to start off with a little different sound today. This is a sound I've kind of created and actually been using it for some recording purposes. But it's just this really nice, I call it Stranger Things. I've been watching a lot of Stranger Things and it's kind of influenced this kind of sound. So here we go. I'll actually do a... You're hearing the filter, so we got just the filter with a slow envelope. And then we also got the resonator. This really thick sound. I love the sound of the Polymoog. It's very unique from any other synthesizer. It's got its own characteristic. But as you can hear, we'll go just direct here. So also I've got this thing set up different too. So we got a rank tune for the sawtooth. First of all, I'll just kind of go to we'll actually go here, cut off modulation, no modulation whatsoever. Go to a 50% duty cycle square wave. And I'm just going to show you that all keys work. So we'll go through, this has all waveforms. As you can hear, so all keys are working. We got the sawtooth. So that's just a sawtooth, and then we got the variable pulse wave or square wave, which we can do a frequency modulation there. Or we can do we can actually shape it, or we can make it modulate pulse width modulation. So we'll change the pulse width. That all works. All the waveforms work. I will show you that the footage works for these variable pulse. So the synthesizer other parts working. You've heard the filter work. I will go over and just kind of show you that again in more detail. So we'll start with the just the raw filter. We can make the filter track the keyboard. And when you use an external glide circuit, you can actually put glide on that keyboard voltage for your filter. So that's the same circuit that when you plug some external synth in to make the Polymoog the master, it's the same CV voltage that's delivered to like a mini Moog, multi-Moog, micro-Moog, whatever you plug in. So that's your keyboard tracking. You got your triangular wave modulation. This thing will shake the room. It's actually shaking the whole room right now. So we'll go here. We also got the sample and hold. I like to combine that with just a little bit of the resonator. So you get some really cool sounds out of the Polymoog. But that's sample and hold. Then we also got the envelope generator, which you've already heard, but I'll go over it in more detail. So right now if we go here, I'll actually set that. So I got a really slow decay, really fast attack. I'm sorry, really fast decay as well. We can set the decay up. So you get something like that. We make it faster. We can set our attack. And you can see it's a multi-trigger, but when you have the poly pedal hooked up, you can make that either multi or single triggering for that generator, which is kind of a nice feature. Anyways, you got the slow attack. We can also control the amount of the envelope. So we can make it softer. You can hear it more if you have the emphasis set up. You can kind of hear how that works. So that's your filter. The resonator, you have three parts: the low, middle, and high, and you got three different types. You got a low pass, a band pass, and high pass filtering. So we'll start with the low band. We'll start with the low end. There we go. I mean, it shakes the whole room right there. What I love about the resonator, though, is you can get some very, very nice harmonics, almost vocal pieces out of the Polymoog, which is great. So, anyways, that's the low end. Then we got the middle. Let me go up. I'm making everything resonate over there at the other side of the room. Our highs. So that's the low pass, and we got band pass. Good sound. And then you got your high pass. And you also got your emphasis control as well, which I haven't been playing with that. I've had that wide open. You got your control frequency. Right here, you can kind of see just one stage of it. Control frequency, an emphasis, and a gain. So you can actually control the gain of each of these low, medium, high stages. It's kind of like an equalizer in some ways, but it's a very amazing tool on the Polymoog. And then we got our mode filters, which we'll go through that through presets and of course direct. So let's go to mode, and we'll go to preset 1. So these are actually, the modes are actually the fixed filters that's in the top center board. It gives you the correct harmonics for what the presets are trying to emulate. For example, here's strings. Give you an example, that's mode filter. If we go direct, versus so that's preset 1. Preset 2 is a piano. Once again, same thing there. Here's direct. Of course, you can modify these presets. We'll go. You hear your dynamics too. Let's go back. So that's preset 2. Preset 3 is organ. Same thing here, direct. And you can combine them too. So harpsichord. So that's harpsichord. Funk. And then we got clavichord. So that's clavichord. Then we got vibes. This is the preset here I normally change for Vox Humana. we got brass. What I like to do here though is the brass I'm using the sawtooth. I like to combine the sawtooth and variable pulse. Because actually it does have its own preset frequency pulse width modulation already in there. It's just not set up to give the sawtooth and variable pulse wave. If we go direct, and that's your presets. You also got a filter set up for each preset, so we'll go straight to VCF. It has its own programming here, so we got, there's your brass. And I apologize, got a train's going by. So that's brass with this train pass. Okay, and now we got vibes, which has a modulation. Then we got clavichord. Funk. It's got sample and hold. And a good example of this preset used in a song is actually Patrick Moraz, the song Kabbalah. You hear this preset's a little slightly modified. See how that works. Then we got harpsichord. Organ. Then we got piano. Then we got strings. So that's your presets. And you can modify these presets as I've mentioned in the past. I will show you something I like to do with preset 1 though, is it's got its own envelope generator for the modulation rate. So I'll give you an example of this. So we'll go here, we'll edit the envelope generator. You'll hear when I let off the note that the modulation dies out. The slow attack. As you can hear, it's for the sawtooth. Dies out a little bit in that one as well. Great sounding synthesizers you can hear. I will show you the pitch bend works as well here. So we'll go. So as you can hear, everything's working great. But anyways, I just want to take a minute, make another little video for you. Show you that everything's working. And once again, Ben Luce, and the whole Luce family, I do appreciate this once again. It's just great to know you guys. Too bad I didn't get to know your dad personally, but I'm just honored enough to get to know you guys. And for everybody else that watches my videos, once again, same appreciation goes to all of you guys. Wouldn't be here doing this stuff without all of your support. So it's it's definitely I appreciate each and every one of you that watches my videos. But anyways, till next time, thanks for watching, and there'll be some more videos to come. Take care.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Luce, and I suppose you could call me the inventor of the Polymoog keyboard. In order to put this instrument in perspective, I'd like to give you a little historical background. Perhaps the most important part of the development of the Polymoog was the development of a special integrated circuit or chip. Without this component, the size of the Polymoog would be many times its present size, and the cost of the Polymoog would be several times its present cost. Creating the Polymoog cost $500,000, of which a significant fraction was spent for designing this special integrated circuit. When notes are played on the touch-sensitive keyboard of the Poly, the chips are activated. The chips generate the basic sound using inputs provided by the player, either through the preset controls or through the variable controls. The timbre of the sound is then further modified using either the filters or the resonator sections on the Poly. Polymoog keyboard, Polymoog keyboard.